live on the air?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
hello, everybody. Are they telling us that our sound is okay
Yeah.
and that they can hear us? Okay.
Yeah. Let me
So,
check.
so we're coming to you at an extreme disadvantage. I have, I have zero internet. As you all know, Stephen, Gracie, and I, and my neighbors and my community, we were all hit very hard by Hurricane Helene. Many of us are still not back in our homes yet. Our homes are unlivable. Um, I'd say that that's the worst thing that happened, but during all of this, my laptop had to crap out, and I was forced to go buy a laptop, and I'm now using Windows 11, and that's probably way up there on my list of bad things that have recently occurred. so, um, and, people were wondering if I knew. And I messaged you the night before and told you I was evacuating. And what people don't know is last year around this time, when Nice and I would talk about looking at my chart, and I would say, I know I'm going to move, and oh, have you looked at the chart, at your chart? And I was like, no, I don't want to look at my chart because the minute I look at my chart, I see problems,
Yeah.
and I don't want to know. And I mentioned that I knew that this was one of the eventual problems that I would be facing. Eventual problems that I would be so. I think what's interesting is that my community was not designated to be hit. No one told us to evacuate until the morning of the storm. Actually, not even the morning of the storm. Sometime around, noon, they were starting to say, well, if you're in low-lying, areas, if you're on the water, if you're in a low-lying area, if you're in a mobile home, if you're in an RV, if you're in something lightweight, or if you're on the water, or if it's both, or whatever it is, leave. And that wasn't until that afternoon. And Renee is a baby nurse. And the night before, I reserved a truck. And I went there and I said, look, I think we're evacuating tomorrow. I'm pretty sure of it. And I had started, unplugging things and getting certain things ready, but I wasn't going to do a full evacuation. I wasn't up to it. It had been rainy. I wasn't feeling well. I was already not feeling well from helping Renee get her home together, to bring her father uh, down here from Tennessee. And I just wasn't up for this evacuation. I put some things up high. I grabbed the most important things. I missed some things, by the way. I brought the wrong bins. There were two bins that I was supposed to bring, and I didn't bring those. I brought something else. And that was a mistake because I had important papers and pictures and things in that.
Mm.
We lost a lot of recording equipment. I lost a lot of electronics. I saved the basic electronics. I saved, my little basic computers and the servers, but like my laptop, I think it was just exposure to the elements and running it around. Um, I we lost books. We lost things that you can't replace. I lost stuff that's replaceable. I lost like all my furniture, except for maybe three pieces of furniture. I lost every one of my appliances. My refrigerator, my washing machine, my dryer, my AC, lost all of those. Everything's done. So it's all toast. And when you see everything you own piled in front of your home like rubbish, and you see a crane come and just grab everything you owned and everything you worked for and stick it in a dumpster, there's two senses in that. One of them is, oh my God, that's everything I worked for. And the other one is, wow, this is going to be the easiest, move, rebuild, renovation ever.
Yeah, and it's such a
Everything is
and
just
it's such a
ripped out.
huge thing that affects a lot of people as well. I mean, it's not just us, it's not just you, and it's everyone, right?
It's
You
my
you
whole
mentioned that.
community.
Yeah.
Renee's here. Renee, I had 8 feet of water in the back of the house and 4 feet in the front. So 8 feet in the lower part and 4 feet in the front. She was in the same situation. Jesse got hit. Jesse got hit really bad. He ripped his place apart though, and he's putting it back together again. He's like already run to get drywall. He's running and gunning. He's actually been very helpful. He's one of the only people who's got good internet at his shop, at his little produce stand on 19. So I hung out there the other day and got some, private internet stuff done. Um, I I don't have the app.
Yeah, that's the
Do
thing.
you, do you want me to tell you? Yeah, I don't even want to sit and do the astrology because I don't have time to go old school and do the astrology. It's bad enough I'm going old school and, printing things and faxing things, damage reports and pictures and all of that. Like literally going to Walgreens and having pictures printed. I haven't done that in 20 years. So it it's the entire community is hit. Supplies are an issue. We're all kind of in flux. We don't know what we're doing. I cannot begin to tell you how many people are just selling their homes as is and walking away. There are a lot of people who are like, you know what? Last year there was a flood and it wasn't that bad. The flood last year wasn't that bad. But this year's flood was worse than in 1993. And when I was talking to Renee the night before, she says, look, they didn't activate the HURT team, which is, I guess, the Hurricane Urgent Response Team for a baby hospital. And women tend to go into premature labor. I was like, well, you know me and you know your hospital and you know your job, but right now, who are you going to believe? Me or them? So early the next morning, we got the truck. She she started loading up some of the stuff, and we both regret not having gotten 2 trucks and just loading it all up. It's regrettable, but I do have to tell you, it was not the optimum weather to do this in. It was already, this thing was so big, we were getting outer rain bands like 2 days before it hit.
Hmm.
And then Milton came in and hit us right behind that.
Yeah, but you mentioned that when you were first evacuating, like people were looking at you like you were crazy, right? You and Renee.
my my neighbor, we got one of our hulky neighbors to help load up the truck. Yeah. When we need like muscle. We're like, yo, Ben, come on over here. So he's like, I don't know why you're doing this. This ain't gonna be nothing. Da, da, da. And he stayed. And
Really?
she caught him on the ring camera at midnight, just before the electric went out. She caught him on the ring camera and she says, oh my God. She says, Ben is chest deep in the middle of the street. He's swimming towards my house.
Oh.
She didn't realize her father's boat had floated away into the neighbor's yard. So Ben was swimming to go moor her father's boat, which was heading towards the neighbor's car,
Swimming through the flood?
swimming through the flood.
Wow.
And then he swam into her house. Like in
Wow.
situations like this, all of us leave our doors open.
Right.
There isn't a single person in a situation who lives on our street. I don't know what people are doing in other streets, but on our streets, when we evacuate or there's a flood like this, we all leave our doors. Or if we think there's, even before we think there's a flood, we leave our doors open. We leave things out for neighbors, like a fan on top of a table or a cooler,
Hmm.
or instructions like there's water over here. Everybody tends to do that. So Ben came over, and when he was loading up the truck for her, and I just grabbed a couple of things which were bins, so we didn't really need him other than to load up a server. Um, he he was like, "You guys are crazy. You're overreacting." And he says, "Didn't you tell?" And he tells her, he's like, "Didn't you tell me that your hospital didn't even call out the hurricane team?" And she's like, "Yeah, but she's like, I got a bad feeling." For her, it was she got a bad feeling, and I was just reinforcing that bad feeling. For me, and we agreed at like 10 o'clock in the morning. We just looked at each other. I was like, we are about to get hit. There is no question we're going to flood. The
Mm,
question is, how bad is this flood going to be?
right.
It was bad enough. It was bad enough to lift her huge stainless steel refrigerator up and just tip it over. That didn't happen in my house because my refrigerator was wedged between two things. All of my appliances are wedged between two counters.
Right. And I mean, I mean, we talked about this every year, right? Like during this season, you have to evacuate and stuff like that. So this time, I didn't think too much of it. I haven't been following the news and stuff like that. But then you told me that this happened, and I was like, wow, I didn't know it's gonna be this bad. But I
And
remember
that's
discussing the chart with you, and there's also flood and everything, and there's a move, there's a yeah, stuff like that, and we didn't
and
look
damages,
too much.
damages that
Yes,
can't be
exactly.
replaced.
But we didn't look too
Mhm.
much into it because normally when we spend too much time on in a chart,
Well, it's like
it's
it's
just
already bad.
yeah,
It's already bad. What do I want to do? I don't want to worry about it. I want to
yeah,
go do what I need to do. And when that time comes, I'm going to be pretty well prepared in the sense that I know it's coming and I need to gear up. I just wasn't physically fit enough to load up a whole truck and to do it
mm,
in the rain. And I actually put stuff up in the higher parts of the house, but the higher parts of the house still got 4 feet of water.
mm. Yeah, and when I
And
got back here,
we
when
didn't stay.
right,
We heard from Ben. We heard from Ben that the real problem was it wasn't just the 8 feet of water in the storm surge. It was
mm,
the fact that it sat there for a long time
right,
before it receded. So the streets cracked. My everybody in my neighborhood. You drive down my streets, everybody's got all of their stuff in front of their yard.
mm,
Beautiful appliances and you see like piles of clothing and comforters and furniture broken in pieces. Everybody's hit. The whole community is hit. And for a lot of people, their homes were their retirement plans.
mm,
Some of these homes are million, $2 million homes. They're on the water.
yeah,
And as I told you, Katya mentioned she messaged me and she says, I was reading that Elon Musk wants to make that a smart city. I was like, yeah, it's very well known. Elon Musk and the owner of the Rays, I forget what his name is. They've been talking about making Tampa a smart city.
right,
And our property is golden. Everyone who lives here west of 19 is right on the Gulf of Mexico.
mm,
You're not in the bay, you're right on the Gulf. I'm on a deep water canal. We see dolphin go swimming through there when the water is shallow and it's cold. Manatee come.
mm.
And they'll feel safe there. There's a lot of wildlife here. This is a beautiful, beautiful place to live. It's truly a hidden jewel. I say it all the time that I like the peacefulness of this place. I didn't realize when I went back to Miami how much I would miss the peace.
Right.
And coming back here, there's like way more traffic. This is sort of like Miami in the late 70s, early 80s. And now that this has happened, I'm looking potentially at going a little bit more north and inland, or
Yeah,
maybe
we were
just a little more.
discussing your
uh,
move like
Yeah,
since last year. Like we knew that we are going to be moving this year, but of course we saw some damages as well, but we didn't expect it to be well this bad. Well you sort
well,
of did.
I was like, well, what did I say? I was like, there's nothing I can do about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we talked about this as well.
I'm,
One thing
I'm
that
not gonna, I'm not
right.
gonna move. This is where I live. This is my home.
Yeah, one thing
So
that we discuss all the time with, doing astrology like this is that a lot of time you have to focus on what you can do instead of what's gonna happen.
if you live buried in a chart, you're not fully present in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
And I say this as an astrologer. The entire purpose of the astrology is this was a warning. This was warning enough that I drove off of my street, unlike many of my neighbors who swam out of their homes for their lives. We did not swim out of our homes. Now Ben was high and dry when he saw the boat floating. He, went out on his deck. He dove into the water and he waded across the street. He like came up, waded across the street, and Renee caught him on the ring camera, chest deep, and she
Mm.
like showed me at midnight. And I said to her, "Well, that's why we're here, because we all evacuated together. We went to her mother's place. And then we had to evacuate from her mother's place,
Mm.
which got hit in Milton.
Mm.
So it was good we left her mother's place." And everybody was like, "Why don't you just stay where you are?" And we were like, "Because we're going to get hit again." Renee and I both went north, but I stopped in Weeki Wachee. And then I went to Pete's for a couple of days just before Milton. Like Stephen
Right.
and I we checked into a hotel in Weeki Wachee, and then I went to Pete's for a couple of days. And then I couldn't get gas,
Mm.
which we had a U-Haul truck. Renee had to rent a car to come back from Tennessee. She took her dad to Georgia. From Georgia, we were assessing the situation. She's in touch with me, and I was like, "You cannot bring him back here. He's sick. He's on hospice.
Yeah.
It's unsanitary. Her water is off right now because she's got a leak between the bathroom and the kitchen in the wall. She doesn't need that leaking into the floor. What it's on top of everything else, the refrigerator should now just fall through the floor." There are so
Mm.
many soft spots in her house, and she just redid so much of that house. She just spent a fortune redoing that place. I got hit for a lot of supplies and work that I was in the middle of, but I didn't, I was waiting until after hurricane season when it's cooler to work. Yeah, like everybody I know, I don't want to see them out there sweating and, during the hot summer and stuff like that. The weather is gorgeous. You start working the end of November, as long as it's not rainy, it's beautiful to work and do construction. So a lot of my supplies for the third time got ruined in this place. And I
Mm.
was sitting, with Pete at Pete's, and I said to Pete, "I think the place is cursed. Like, is that why you wanted to unload it with me?" you, you should live here. He came to me. I didn't go to him. I don't regret it though.
Well.
What we're excited is Stephen's garden is there. So we have food that's growing there.
Mm.
Now, on the upside, Jesse's got property. He's got an acre. And he said to Stephen and me, he's like, "You want to put a place up on that? I just want to be able to get to my garage." He's got this huge work garage. It's like airplane hangar size. It's just enormous. And it's sitting on an acre of property. So he's like, "You want to put something up over there?" I'm like, "I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'll buy a modular home. That's the fastest way out. You
By the
order
way,
the home, they
right,
deliver it, and boom."
right.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm sharing your chart right now, putting the arrows on your Neptune Hades that go to your sun and also
Mhm.
your Meridian Ascendant. Yeah,
Mhm.
all of these.
And the moon
Yeah,
Neptune Hades,
Moon Neptune
which
as
by the
well.
way, Renee has Renee has moon Hades. Moon equals Hades natally. She works with women who've just had babies, women in labor. You know, it's very
Right.
much a destiny for her.
Yeah.
She loves her job. She truly loves her job, and she's good at what she does. Um, so well, we were sitting there the night before. She says, well, like, how do you know? And I was like, I really don't have time to give you an astrology lesson, but in short, that moon Hades I keep telling you about. She says, yeah. I was like, so that's moon Hades, Neptune at the Aries point. I have Neptune equals Hades. My moon is at the Aries point. And she's like, okay, so tomorrow morning, what time are we picking up the truck? What time? she like
Yeah.
she's like smart enough to know because we've been talking about her chart, and when she she does the usual astrology stuff, she'll say he's this or he's that, and I'll say no, that's not why they're doing that. This is why they're doing that, because they have Mercury in this sign, and because
Yeah.
they have
Well,
Venus
she
in this
picks up
sign,
a
and
few
because
things.
yeah, oh no, she's learning some stuff. She's definitely learning about the energies, without even really studying, just from hanging out. Like, look, I've learned a lot of things about, nursing and medical stuff, just like everyone in medicine that I hang out with, I learn things from them. If
Yeah.
you're paying attention to your friends, truly you should be learning something from all of them.
Yeah. I mean, truly.
So, yeah, we got hit, and it was raining and problematic before we went and picked up the truck. High tide had come in at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and high tide was really high. And I kept looking at high tide, and her father was there, and her father knows the water. So I was like, "Hey, Travis, you see this tide out here?" And he's like, we can just go over to Walmart and ride it out. Like, we'll just go hang out in our cars until this thing passes us. Let's, go listen to music,
Hmm.
like fuel up. No, we weren't going to be able to do that. We knew that it was bad enough. Plus, his health wasn't good enough for him to be able to have an extended period of time in a car with his legs down, not elevated. So there was that. Then there was the gas issue. And the gas issue was truly a crisis. There was nowhere to get gas. I was on a quarter of a tank when I went to evacuate from Milton, and that's what I drove to Pete's on. And I said to Pete, I got to come to your house. I got a quarter tank of gas, and nobody's got gas anywhere. And he's telling me, I got this friend who called me. He says they got gas here. I was like, look, I got gas, buddy. I got the app, and the app is telling me where there's gas. And by the time I get there, there won't be gas. And when I finally did get gas, it was, I had just come in from the grocery store, which is like right around the corner to his house. I would run over to the grocery store and come back. And I'd come back into the grocery store and I checked my gas buddy, and the BP station down the street from his house said they had gas. So I like walked in and I turned around. He says, "Where are you going?" I was like, "BP has gas. I'm going. I'm going to get gas right now." And I left. I just turned around and walked out and left. I was like the 16th car in line at the BP. There were two police cars there, very normal. This is all standard operating procedure. They had employees like guiding you in. People were frustrated, but when I got there, because I took a lot of cash out before the storm, so I would have cash so that you could buy things for when there's no electric. So when I got there, I ran inside to go pay cash for my gas. Even though the pumps were working, I could have paid with a debit card, but I was like, let me give her cash. And she tells me that she says, I tell her, 40 on pump 12, 45 on pump 12. And she says to me, she says, oh, we're closing pump 12. I was like, now? Now? And she says, no, 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 no. When you're done, she says, don't leave. Come and, flag somebody and let us know so they can flag the pump. So I was basically the last person to get gas on that pump. And that station ran out of gas within an hour of getting their pumps loaded. Then there was like another. Once I had gas, I went that like further down. I decided let me go, down and look at stuff down in Hudson. I didn't care. I needed to, get around and go look at stuff. We had left our house open without us going to the house for like 4 days. But Ben was there, and he was, opening windows, opening doors, closing windows, closing doors. and making sure. Like my house right now is wide open. And what are they going to take? All the electronics that are in bins waiting for the next load
Mm.
to come? Anyway, I feel like when things like this happen that there's greater good in this.
Right.
And it's pushing, usually things like this they're pushing you to make a change. So
Mm.
I'm obviously in flux. My big focus is to get us more stable housing with internet.
Right. Yeah, we just want to check in with you guys and letting you guys know why, we have not been able to do the shows for a few weeks.
Or
Yeah.
answer anybody on the server or be on Facebook or on Reddit or anything.
Yeah. It's
I don't, number one, I do not have the app. So I just want to say to every single one of you who are able to use the app, I am so envious of all of you. All right. And I just want to tell you that I can't go back to software. I just can't do it. I can't go back to like one screen and one
right.
chart.
Yeah. By the way, I'm showing
I,
I'm showing the triple pattern, your triple pattern, for which one is this again? Wait. This one is
the Neptune
Neptune
Hades or the
Hades.
Moon
Yes.
or Moon
Yep.
Neptune. Well,
Neptune Hades.
they're all in place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, they are
they're
in
all in
place,
place.
and they are connected to Uranus. Uranus. It's happened
Mm.
suddenly, and also Capito, your house, your family, and everything, and also Moon as well. Moon
My
is there.
neighborhood, my whole
Yeah,
community.
yeah,
And wait, and the not for profit was started and run from there.
yeah,
So that's the Capito too.
yeah. That as well. So all of
Oh,
this.
is now a good time to tell you? Remember, we finally got the screen that we needed. Guess what we lost? We lost the screen.
That's okay.
Here's the thing, like it dawns on you. It comes in waves where all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, that was there.
Yeah, and
It's almost like,
your
oh,
directed Aries point just crosses over your Neptune Neptune Hades as well. It just crosses
yeah,
over.
and that's my meridian ascendant. So
Hmm.
it's me,
Yeah,
it's my
and it goes
environment,
to
it's
your
affecting where I'm
sun.
going.
Exactly.
Yep, it's affecting my physical body, my family,
Yeah.
because that applies to my Venus.
Yeah. Even
If you really,
Node Venus as well. You can like Renee
yep.
was there when this happened.
hmm All
Yeah,
of
it's
us were
Apollon.
so
It's connected to a lot of people. Yeah.
every single person. Jesse was hit pretty bad. Jesse is in
Hmm.
touch with me like every day. What am I doing? Where am I going? Am I going to rebuild? What am I, like he's like working on his stuff. What do I need from him? You know, where do I go? Because he knows the importance of me having internet and stability.
Right.
He is acutely aware of that. Everybody who knows me knows I am like the most dependable, most stable person. I'm not running around doing all kinds of crazy shit. You can find me in my house with my little, habits and hobbies and doing what I'm doing
Hmm.
and living very, very low key because that's how I want to live. Steven likes, tending to his garden. We have our little circle of friends and people that we commune with, and honestly, we don't bother with anybody else. And we've been very content and very happy. And it's
Hmm.
been very peaceful. So this is shaking things up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're a little bit displaced. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit unnerving. But like I said, we're in better shape than other people. We don't have the trauma of having had to swim for our lives and out of our homes.
Hmm.
And and I don't have problems that other people have. There are two developments north of me that their sewage exploded. So they didn't just have the flood, Their stuff was flooded, and they were buried in sewage from
Hmm.
two different developments. And that's why I don't want to, like, there's comfort stations where you can go and do your laundry. Stephen and I have been collecting change in an instant coffee jar that we specifically got for, to collect change in it, and putting it on the dining room table for a couple of years. We have been using all of those quarters. We probably had like $70, $80 in quarters, and we're buying quarters at this point to do laundry because everything has to be washed before you even know whether you can salvage it. Here's a pro tip for anybody who got flooded. If you don't know anything, vinegar and water. Spray all your stuff with white vinegar and water and see if that gets rid of the mildew and the mold. And then try to clean it. And then peroxide, and of course,
Hmm.
the stronger stuff afterwards. But vinegar and water to eliminate that mildew smell and get some of that mildew out of there. We're able to salvage some stuff, but most of it is gone.
Hmm.
So, oh well. I can replace almost everything that I lost. My signed copies of certain books I can't replace. Stephen had one of a kind collectible stuff. He had art supplies. Those things were given to him by somebody who passed away. His guitar, some things are irreplaceable. Pictures,
Yeah.
letters, mementos, those things are irreplaceable. But the things that matter the most, everybody I know survived.
Yeah. That's great. That, yeah.
So,
I mean, we looked at this. I mean, the chart. We looked at this, and we like because all of this is really scary at the time. Well, not at the time. Even now. Yeah. We didn't dig deeper into it. We knew that you're gonna move, so we focus on that, like finding a new place and stuff like that. But then this happened.
yeah, I had wanted to, and I talked to Pete about this, where I had said to him, do you want to get rid of this place and let's look at something across the way?
Yeah.
I
Like
was
just
talking to him about the
yeah.
way, yeah, the way things were going. I said, realistically speaking, you should be looking at acquiring a real large plot of land and growing some food. So he was like, I think you're right. Now here's
Yeah.
something interesting. A couple of days at Pete's house, no internet. I was like, how do you freaking live without the internet? How are you doing this? he's walking into the kitchen. He's like, I'm afraid of it. He's like, I I live without it because it scares me.
I don't trust it.
Yeah, he doesn't. And it's like I tell him, I was like, Pete, you're on the internet anyway. You give your bank, like all of his
Yeah.
banking stuff comes to my email. Everything goes to my email. If he's got a fraud alert, if something's happening, it goes to my email. It comes to my email, and I have to call him. I was like, do you not understand you're on the internet anyway? You're giving them my information. They're contacting you. Your information is, it's tied to mine. Your bank is certainly using the internet. So you know what? I don't have time to talk Pete down from the tower of fear that he's
Right.
standing on over the
Yeah,
internet.
but just so everyone know, like this is how we normally look at charts as well. This is exactly how we do consultation as well. We not we are not gonna focus on what's gonna happen, what exactly is the bad thing that's gonna happen, but we knew that she's gonna move. We knew that Anna's gonna move, so we focus on that, finding the right place to move to. That has been the thing that we were talking, since last year.
I was like, he says, "Are you planning to move?" I was like, "No," but clearly it's in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
chart.
exactly, exactly. We talked about this. She mentioned it to me last.
I
She
was like,
mentioned
"No,
it to me
we
first
we
time,
have,
and I
we
was
have an
like,
avocado. Yeah, we have an avocado tree. We have a banana tree."
yeah, Yeah, but we saw all of this. But again, like if anyone, were looking at your own chart, focus on what you can do because this can be really scary. All of all of this can be death. All of this can be a serious loss, which it is. But you have to look through everything and find the solution in this, which is
and
a
pull it
move.
apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, pull it apart. Like, why is there death? Because Travis was on hospice.
Yeah, exactly. And we have, Anna, I mean, we talked and we were trying to solve the problem, but again, like, that's a move is not easy. And then this happened, and then, everything has
And
to happen.
I haven't found anything that has enticed me to get rid of my investment in this property
Yeah.
or to even put it up in somebody else's hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we talked about this, and then,
You know,
like
somebody has to pay me. I have to get paid to move
mm,
from there.
yeah, exactly. We were trying to find the right
I have
way
an
and the best
investment in
way.
that property.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Pete has an investment there. And if I move, Pete loses part of his investment there,
Yeah.
and I lose all of my investment there.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to like you,
Okay.
you have to think about it at the time. Like we were looking at the chart and we knew that Anna's has to move, but then of course it's not something that can be done right away, and then things happen and then everything unfolded the way the chart shows.
Yeah. I said to him last year, I said I'm pretty sure I'm going to flood and I'm going to sustain some pretty bad damage here.
Yeah.
Why sit there, you know, hovering over charts? You can't change what's in the chart. What you can do is what I did. At best, we could have done better. Renee and I could have gotten two separate
Right.
trucks, and I could have hired a team of people to come in and she could have too, load everything up and put everything in storage like 2 days before and headed somewhere out of town and taken like a 2 week vacation. That would have been the smart way. And let me explain evacuation too, by the way. Evacuation mostly is about not having to suffer inconvenience of wading through floodwaters or being without your electric and not being able to cook and really open and close your refrigerator. If you lose your electric for a few hours and you just don't keep opening and closing your refrigerator, your food is going to be fine. Nothing will really even unfreeze in your freezer in a few hours.
Hmm.
So, you know, when you evacuate, 8 times out of 10, you're truly evacuating to avoid an inconvenience because it's miserable to be in a place where there's no electric
Hmm.
and where you can't cook. And unfortunately, I don't have a generator in this place. I had a friend who offered to bring one over, but I don't like to play with gas generators in storms. When there's lightning and too much rain out there, I don't like to mess around with that. And then of course we ended up with a gas shortage. So I would have
Hmm.
run out of, being able to use that.
Yeah.
So my place still doesn't have electric because all of my electric has to be redone. Like literally from the breaker box and the pole all the way through the place, everything has to be ripped out.
Yeah. And I mean
There,
this. Yeah.
terrible damage.
Yeah.
Terrible damage.
Yeah. I
So
mean, this also applies to anyone who see death in their charts as well, or maybe loved ones, or any sort of destruction. Yeah, instead of focusing on is it gonna happen, you if you see something, you should act on it and try to do whatever you can to not to fix it, not to try to avoid it or anything, but try
be
to
aware.
yeah be aware of it and try to live accordingly. Let's just say
Yeah, to as they say in law, to govern yourself accordingly.
yeah. That's the best way.
Wait, that was one of the funniest things, actually. God bless David. I
Hmm.
called David. I
Yeah.
had to call David and said, David, I need you to type something up for Pete and for me. And he says, what? I said, I lost the deed He said, you did what? I was like, I lost the deed. He was like, okay, so there's poor David, having to that's not the only thing I lost. And while I'm on the phone with him and he's typing this up, he's telling me, that he knows of people who got hit in North Carolina.
Mm.
There are people still in North Carolina that are flooded with inland flooding that's directly from Helene.
Mm.
Then there's another group of people up north of us that are experiencing flooding, and it's post-Milton flooding. The waters are extremely high. And I just want to point this out, that when I have time, I'm going to look at a lot of the deception. There's the Neptune, of course, because there's water.
Yeah.
But this didn't make any sense to Pete. Pete would go outside, and Pete was like, it doesn't look like it's going to hit here. The clouds are going in the wrong directions.
Mm.
And like the next morning, he went out before I had gone and seen the damage, before I'd gotten back there. He says to him, I don't think you got hit too hard. He's like, the clouds are just, they've been going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Renee and I get there, and Renee and I call him up, and Renee and I were like, yeah, no, this was worse than the 1993 storm. This is the worst flooding this place has seen in like over, I guess, 40 or 50 years. They haven't seen flooding like this.
Yeah, and Moon Neptune can be a deception for, a group of people as well, right? And
Public
it's right
deception.
on, right, yeah, public deception.
A public
Yeah.
deception.
And that is on right on the Aries point as well.
Yep. So I even Pete's like been shaking his head. He says this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The clouds aren't moving in the right direction. We
And
shouldn't have
the
gotten and and he, like Travis. Travis was like, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't like these men know the water.
yeah, and you
They know
mentioned
weather, they know the water. Yeah, Travis knows every river and every waterway in the world. Travis can take a boat through every river and every waterway all the way around the world.
yeah, and what about
Inland.
the alert? Did you get the alert? Is there any
What?
like the hurricane?
What? Oh yeah, we got an alert that if you were in like the the night before. We get these all the time,
Right.
and then you'll hear them on your phone. You know it's getting
Mm-hmm.
serious when you start getting that on your phone. That DEFCON 4, alarm. That it's a public service announcement.
Yeah.
So,
You're gonna
yeah,
die.
no, it's bad. It's like
I know I'm joking.
there's four of us with cell phones, so all at once.
Yeah, the same thing happened when I was in Japan as well. When earthquake gonna hit, everyone's phone
Yeah,
is gonna be buzzing like that.
yeah, exactly. And and then I don't know if this happens in Japan, but if you listen to it rather than just read it, if you touch the thing to hear it, it goes really fast. So it's like, this is a public service announcement for Pasco County, Florida. If you are in line, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh wow. When we were leaving and everybody was kind of poking fun of us at us, we were telling them, if you get into trouble or whatever, or you think that there's going to be a problem, don't wait. Like, we came back and we left, I forget, we left the keys with Ben for something.
Hmm.
And we were like, if it looks bad, get this vehicle out of here and come. And don't drive. Like, park the vehicle in high ground and call somebody, call like Uber. hurricane evacuation, and they'll bring you to us. They'll send like an SUV and they'll bring you to us. But he wasn't going to go anywhere. He he raised his home up and built it on a mound and like built his drive. But what was interesting about him is he had an $84,000 classic Chevelle, pristine condition, and he jacked sitting outside through the storm, and he jacked up the trailer, and it's good that he did. The trailer that it was sitting on, he jacked the whole trailer up, and by having done that, that car didn't get a drop of water
Mm.
in it.
Mm.
His car, I can't tell you. You come down my street, everybody's car got hit.
Mm.
Everybody lost everybody's vehicles, and if you didn't get hit in the flood, you got hit driving around after the flood. And I need to buy a car, and this is like the worst place, the worst time, the worst situation to do this thing, because people are going to be trying to sell you
Yeah.
flooded vehicles. So I'm thinking, and Michael was trying to give me his car that he left in Atlanta, and his
Right.
brother decided he wanted it.
Mm.
Michael was like, I bought a Mercedes when I was in Atlanta. Here, I'll send you. Do you need a car? I'll send you the Mercedes. I was like, bet. You do that. But then his brother decided he wanted the car. And he was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, he says, I'll help you buy a car. I was like, no, no, it's all right. I'm good. I can get a car. I did want the Mercedes, though. I'm not going to lie. All right, so anyway,
Yeah.
I will probably go to Georgia or something. Like Renee and me and Steven will probably take a trip up to Georgia for a weekend, and I'll go buy something up in Georgia. If I don't find something in the next week or 10 days, I'm going to take a road trip to Georgia.
Right.
And I'll go. Yeah, there's a car dealer that used to do business with my brother up in Georgia. I'll go see that guy.
Yeah. We're just
If
checking in on
not,
it.
if
Right.
not, if not, I'll call my brother in New Jersey and I'll be like, I'm gonna need you to. I'll send you money. I'm gonna need you to go get me a car and put a car in a transport and ship it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe getting one from a different state would be safer, I
Yeah,
guess.
like I have. Yeah, but I know people who actually know cars. Like I
Right,
know
right, right,
cars.
right.
Every time I walk into a dealership and they think I'm stupid, I look at these guys like, you have no idea how much I know about cars. Even mechanics, like changing oil and brakes and tires, all right? I'm not that inept. I know my way around an engine. So I know what I'm facing. And I mean, I just don't want to have to go to like every car and like look at the seat belts and get underneath the cars and be that suspicious. I don't even want to deal with that crap.
Hmm.
So anyway, we wanted to get in touch with you guys and let you
Yeah.
know this is why we're not around. He's busy and he's doing a lot of stuff and he was always, very busy, and this doesn't help if,
Yeah.
he has to like do some of the stuff that I'm supposed to be doing. Okay? Because
No, I'm
he
happy to do
designed
it.
the app. Yeah, he designed the app. He's done his part. He shows up for the shows. He works on some charts. Okay, he worked like a person who was suffering from some sort of mental breakdown for for, for a year, and we produced something great, and he's back to his life,
Yeah.
and I have all of this stuff that I'm supposed to be helping you guys with. And we do want to continue to go with the classes, and thank you and welcome to all of the new students.
Yeah,
Just
thank you so
talk
much.
to the people. Yeah, talk to the people that are on the server. There's really good people in the server. I see some of you, doing some work, and I don't have time to check your work right now.
Yeah,
All
yeah, me
right.
too. I haven't been checking in. But I think this show, one thing that I like to talk about for this show in particular is like, again, if you see something bad in your shot or something like that, instead of focusing on what's gonna happen, focus on what you can do. Even for me, I had, we talked about this a lot already, but when I saw, my dad's on my dad's
Yep.
chart, death, and also
Yep.
mine, and that everyone in the family, I know that his death was, you know, it's it's
Inevitable.
gonna come. Yeah, there's no way. So instead
It's
of focus,
inevitable.
yeah,
What are you going to do? Are you going to govern yourself accordingly? Are you going to talk to your family? What did you do?
yeah, exactly, and
Tell
like
them what you did because you did things to make sure that he was comfortable. That's what you did.
exactly, exactly. I was looking at the chart and I saw, that, and also like what he wants at the time, like how things are, how he felt, and then you try to comfort him. I try to comfort him accordingly, and then try to gather family because on his chart there's also a worry about family and stuff like that because we haven't seen each other for in a while. So I made sure that that happened and we reconcile anything that happened and stuff like that. So and then his death come. So that's how I think that's the healthiest way you approach this. You know what I mean? Because like you can't change anything. You can't move the dates around. You can't move the bodies around. So yeah, instead of focusing on is it
Yeah,
gonna
like when you
happen?
were moving from Japan,
Yeah,
same
that as
thing.
well. In
You knew you were going to be
yeah.
moving, and we
So you
were what.
prepare.
This is what we were doing now. Now,
Yeah, exactly.
in the same case with you, we kind of did the same thing. Anytime some job opportunity or an offer came up that required his moving, he looked at it a little more seriously because he knew that there was a move in his chart.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's how you approach
yeah,
this.
yeah. Anytime somebody came to me with any type of, and I get offers all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime anybody approached me with an offer that would require I move from my location, where in the past I wouldn't talk to them about it, I started entertaining those conversations.
Yeah, exactly. This is how you approach this. If you see
So,
something like Neptune, make sure you double checked because something may be hidden there. Hades as well, something like that. If you see Capito
you
related
could
to
be
that,
intuitively, yeah, you
yeah,
could be intuitively accurate or you
yeah,
could
that
be
as well.
completely deceived.
That as well. If you see
So,
Capito, you make
so you
sure,
have,
you know,
yeah,
family, organization, stuff like that. You make sure you looked at that. Yeah, if you see note there, you
and
make sure.
check your families,
Yeah,
check your family. So
that's
just don't just check your chart. You see Capito,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
that's the invitation
Yeah,
to look at everybody's chart to know.
exactly.
You
I
see
think
your
that's
Venus involved, check the things and the people you love. You see
yeah,
Mars involved, check your work and the people
yeah,
you do work with or that you're
exactly,
active with.
exactly. That's
Like
how you approach
that's
this. I think
and
what
get data, get
yeah,
more data, and then what you do is once you determine that something is going to happen, don't sit there trying to fine tune and identify the minute to second. There's going to be notification. You're going to know in advance that's about to happen.
yeah. I think
What
you
you're
put it
supposed to do is
yeah.
get yourself organized.
Yeah, exactly. I think you put it the best is like don't just check charts, check everything else as well. Yeah.
Yeah, don't just check your chart. Check everything. When you see something, learn that rule book
Mm.
and the definitions of the trans-Neptunes and the energy of those planets. This way you know when something is being activated, what's it involving. When we look at what's happening right now in my chart, look at all the planets involved. It's activating, the things that I love, the things that I work on, the not-for-profit that I've built,
Yeah.
the school. It's affecting my son. It's affecting my neighbors. It's affecting my friends.
Yeah.
This is affecting my entire community.
Yeah.
It's
Like
affecting my dog. My dog is so displaced. My dog has had it. My
yeah.
dog, every time we go to the house and she walks through the house, and then we take her for her walk to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom, she's back on familiar ground and she
Mm.
knows something's wrong. I mean, it's like where she used to go for a walk and there was grass, there's just piles of garbage everywhere.
Yeah.
Although they came down my street. We have one more dump pile that we have to create. So if you look in the chart, you'll see like garbage,
Mm.
You'll
Yeah,
see those
Hades.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if
And
you were to
also,
spend him
right.
the time to do all of the triple patterns and take care of this, you're looking at a couple of hours.
Hmm.
Probably, probably, I want to say 4 to 7 hours to get through all of that.
Right.
And then to actually figure out what's going to happen. So you
Yeah.
can spend the time doing that, or you can take the warning as like, okay, this is going to be a flood. There's some death around you. There's this or that. All right, don't wallow in it.
Hmm.
Get up and get your ducks in a row. Start
Yeah.
organizing things. Like
Exactly.
I thought I had done the right thing. Like I learned things in
Hmm.
this flood.
Yeah.
I had things in plastic bins. I don't care what they tell you. Don't do that. Don't listen to them because when a really bad flood comes, it lifts all of your stuff up and it tips everything over. And
Hmm.
if it's sitting in a flood and it's shoving up against other things, your bins are going to crack or they're going to break or they're going to open up and all your stuff is going to float out. So if you have plastic bins, take your plastic bins and put your plastic bins on top of each other up high. Do not make the mistake that I made.
Hmm.
I had a lot of things that I thought, I had protected by putting them in bins and that they were going to be fine. Bullshit, man. All that shit, that the water just like rose up and tipped
Hmm.
everything over.
Right.
Just everything. So, learn. And I'll see, I'll let you know what's going to happen. I might rebuild. I might move. I don't
Hmm.
know what I'm going to do. I'm in flux. You look at my chart and you'll see.
Yeah.
There's the Neptune.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
All right.
I'm confused about my home and what I'm going to do out in the world. And there it is. And we'll be in touch with you. And, I just don't have internet access, guys,
Yeah.
and it's not conducive. Yeah, I can't do astrology work off of a smartphone. It's not for what I do and not for what your
Hmm.
needs are.
Yeah.
But we're going to be working this week on getting me, into more stable housing with some decent internet
Right.
that's not shared and terrible. And I want to thank you all for, bearing with us, and thank you, Nice,
Thank you.
for just, taking taking care of my job.
No, 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 no. That's okay.
Your
No
job.
problem.
I know we're
All right.
partners and buddies and friends. All
All
right,
right,
so thank you
everyone.
everybody for showing
Thank
up, and
you.
hi to everybody. I can't see who's here, who showed up, whatever.
Yeah, Raji is
Nice to
here. Selena is here.
Hi
Hi,
guys, hi
everyone.
Selena, hi everybody. So I can't see you. I have no idea what's going on, but I promise you in the next week or so, I'm gonna get some stability, and we'll all be able to chat and do screen shares and get
Right.
back to some semblance of normalcy. All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.